This podcast is brought to you by Al Jazeera.
Hello, I'm Richard Gisbert. You're at the Listening Post. This week, Silvio Berlusconi, Rupert Murdoch, and the media in Italy.
Patrizia D'Addario è arrivata qui in procura.
Tales of New York.
I have a little story that I would like to tell you.
Confessions of infidelity and accusations of blackmail from a talk show comedian. Drilling deep into the Egyptian blogosphere with Wael Abbas and the rednecks who aren't really.
Might be a little bit racist.
On racism, Barack Obama, and the American media. Tens of thousands of people were on the streets of Rome recently protesting against government and the media. In this case, they were demonstrating against one person, Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. Because in some ways, Berlusconi is the media in Italy. Between the television channels Berlusconi, the businessman, owns and the channels Berlusconi, the Prime Minister, has power over, 6 of the 7 terrestrial channels in Italy are under Silvio Berlusconi's control. And when Berlusconi doesn't like what newspapers say about him, like the coverage of his recent marital troubles, he tends to sue them. That's what the demonstrators were protesting about. They accuse their Prime Minister/media magnate of muzzling what media he does not control. Enter stage right Rupert Murdoch, the conservative head of News Corporation, whose global media holdings make Berlusconi's look puny. The monopolistic Murdoch is out to break Berlusconi's Italian TV monopoly. Our starting point this week, the Murdoch-Berlusconi battle in Italy, a fight that's all over the newspapers, the airwaves, and is now heading to the courts.
The right to know, the right to inform.
The demonstration was called by the National Association of Journalists.
Tens of thousands of Italians have come here to defend the press's freedom of speech.
It was an unusual protest because we never had demonstrations in defense of the freedom of the press in Italy.
And immobilizing people into the streets.
This is a complicated story that revolves around 2 very wealthy, very powerful men. Silvio Berlusconi and Rupert Murdoch of News Corp, the owner of, among many other media outlets, Sky TV and Sky Italia.
Italy's TV industry has always been a duopoly between the state broadcaster RAI and the Berlusconi family's Mediaset operations. And several companies have tried over the years to break in, and really News Corp, Sky Italia is the first company that's actually succeeded.
However, the Murdoch angle is a relatively recent one in the Berlusconi media story. The Italian owns 3 private channels, Italia 1, Channel 4, and Channel 5. And as Prime Minister, he has effective control of 3 state-funded channels, and he's not shy about flexing his media muscle.
Berlusconi uses television as his private mouthpiece, and I think it is something that is starting to concern the international media and the international public opinion.
Italy is a very television-centered country. About 80% of the population claim to receive their only political information through television. Newspaper readership is relatively limited.
Still, the Prime Minister is quite sensitive about what is written about him. When a reporter from l'Unità, a leftist newspaper, asked Berlusconi about the recent sex scandal that has effectively ended his marriage, the tension was palpable.
Ha intenzione di rispondere a CNN, ha detto che spiegherà tutto. È un problema internazionale.
A lei non rispondo perché ho nei confronti del suo giornale una disistima totale. Punto. Vuole che continuiamo?
No, risponderà a CNN.
Così. Ma lasci perdere, per favore. Dai.
In May of this year, another liberal Italian daily, La Repubblica, wanted to interview Berlusconi about that same story. He refused. Since then, the paper has printed on a daily basis 10 questions for him, such as when and how often did he meet with one of the women, and did he use state-owned aircraft to fly other women to private parties.
Not only didn't answer these questions, but he sued La Repubblica, asking 1 million euros in damages. And it's a very unusual thing that has been noted by international press, that a prime minister sues a newspaper not for something that has been written, for an editorial, but for questions that he describes as insulting and defamatory.
Berlusconi has urged advertisers to boycott newspapers he does not like, and given that he's the prime minister, the advertisers have good reason to listen. He doesn't really have to worry about television coverage of the scandal, since the channels he controls stay away from the story. However, one channel, Rupert Murdoch's Sky Italia, is different.
Suo corollario di veleni. Patrizia D'Addario è arrivata qui in procura.
Addirittura anche le croce dei vestiti.
Parte la maggioranza che va in soccorso.
So absolutely, the sex scandal over the summer was presented by Sky News Television in a way that no television in Italy has presented. This has angered Berlusconi, undoubtedly, and has also offered Italians an opportunity to directly be connected to the European-wide discussions on the recent sex scandals.
Non mi sono pentita affatto.
And also last month, News Corp, or Sky Italia, launched a lawsuit in the Italian courts against Publitalia, Mediaset's advertising sales arm, alleging that Publitalia was refusing to sell advertising space for Sky Italia on the Mediaset channels.
Of course, the Prime Minister is retorting that Sky and Murdoch have a personal point against him. There is a commercial battle behind this, but it's actually the way we see it, the other way around. I mean, Murdoch is saying that Berlusconi has limited the freedom of his TV networks and, in general, other TV networks to gain a larger part of the Italian market.
Murdoch has launched a legal case not just in Italy, he's also taking it to the European Court of Justice. This past week, the EU Parliament was debating a resolution on media freedom in Italy and will vote on it later this month. This is a live issue for the European Commission, given that it has been so critical of Turkey, which has applied for EU membership but has been told that it cannot join until it has a free media.
It is weird, it is strange that there is a certain set of rules for joining the EU, and Italy, according to many foreign organizations and many foreign observers, wouldn't be able to join the EU by today's standards.
Because of Berlusconi. And more to the point, when the EU criticizes foreign leaders further afield, such as Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe, for their records on freedom of the press, why should anyone listen, as long as Silvio Berlusconi is pulling so many of the media strings in the heart of Europe? Our Global Village Voices now on the mess in the Italian media.
In a very dark moment of his reign, Berlusconi again is using his media to throw his personal troubles in the political debate. These days his media portray me as the poor victim of a communist plot to steal the power from him.
European Union leaders cannot at the same time asking countries like Russia or Burma or Iran to respect freedom of the press and tolerate a situation like the one in Italy these days. We asked European Parliament first and then European Union leaders to strongly condemn the situation in Italy.
If you'd like to join our growing list of Global Village Voices, there's more than one way to go about it. You can let us know by emailing us at listeningpost@aljazeera.net, but most contributors just go on Facebook and hook up with us through the Listening Post page there. We have more than 2,300 viewers signed up. You can also follow us through Twitter. We will let you know via Facebook and Twitter what stories we're working on and how you can add your voice to the mix. Some quick hits on the media now, Listening Post News Bites. American television viewers usually tune into David Letterman's Late Show on CBS to get a few laughs and catch some celebrity interviews. These days, they're hearing about infidelity, blackmail, and a legal drama that involves the host of the program himself.
I have a little story that I would like to tell you.
Letterman went on the air October 1st and told his audience he was the target of a blackmail plot, that someone had tried to extort $2 million from him over affairs that he had had with women on his staff. Police have arrested Joe Halderman, a CBS producer who has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Until recently, Halderman was reported to have been in a relationship with Stephanie Burkett, a producer on The Letterman Show and one of the women with whom Letterman had reportedly been involved. CBS immediately suspended Halderman.
Well, I bet our next guest is dying to get out here.
Letterman, meanwhile, who has a reputation for lambasting public figures over their private lives, including their sex lives, has seen his ratings go through the roof. China wants to become a player in global media, and not just through its government-run outlets. China's State Council has laid out an ambitious plan to help develop media and entertainment companies that it wants to compete with Western-based media giants like Time Warner and Viacom. The new plan would create entertainment and news outlets with a greater market orientation, which is a departure from the government-backed approach we've seen till now that has created outlets like CCTV, the state-run English-language channel China beams out to the world. However, China's not abandoning the state-run model. It says it wants to upgrade outlets like CCTV, as well as foreign-language print publications to reach audiences overseas. In Morocco, the Akhbar Al-Youm newspaper has been shut down over a cartoon it published of Prince Moulay Ismail celebrating his wedding. The cartoon shows the prince at a podium waving against a backdrop of the Moroccan flag. However, the flag's been altered, with the normal Wiccan star replaced by what looks to be the Star of David. The government has reportedly charged the newspaper with disrespecting a member of the royal family, and the prince is also suing for defamation. The New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists has condemned the closure of the paper, said that it's part of an escalating campaign by the Moroccan government to silence critical journalists. There are signs from Moscow that the Kremlin is still feeling sensitive about the case of Anna Politkovskaya, the Russian journalist who was murdered back in 2006. There was a news event held in the Russian capital this past week to mark the 3rd anniversary of the murder, which remains unsolved. 2 representatives of the media freedom group, Reporters Without Borders, tried to attend, but they were refused entry. The head of the group, Jean-François Julliard, sent this message to his Russian colleagues via the web.
We will never forget Anna Politkovskaya, and we will never stop asking for the truth.
Politkovskaya was a determined journalist. It's believed that she was killed for her critical reporting of the Kremlin's policy in Chechnya. Russia ranks 141st of the 173 countries on Reporters Without Borders Index on press freedom. The group produced this cartoon on the state of the media in Russia. It's entitled Russian School of Journalism. We're back after the break with one of the most influential voices in the Arabic blogosphere, Wael Abbas of Egypt. Welcome back. We've been at it for almost 3 years now here on The Listening Post, and we've only ever done one extended interview during this, our feature segment. Today, we'll do our second. We're going to talk about the Egyptian blogosphere, all the voices making themselves heard through new technology on the state of politics and other social issues there. Egypt has the best developed political blogosphere in the Arab world. As such, it's a laboratory that tests the limits of freedom of speech in that country and sets the pace for other online political activists across the Middle East. The man we're speaking to is Wael Abbas. He is a thorn in the side of the Mubarak government in Cairo and its security forces. Through his site, Misra Digital, or Egyptian Awareness, Abbas is as influential as any political blogger is anywhere. Wael Abbas now on the Egyptian blogosphere. What has changed in Egypt as a result of bloggers, what hasn't, and why he is not a big fan of Facebook or YouTube. Thanks for talking to us here at The Listening Post.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
How would you describe your relationship with the Egyptian authorities at the moment?
Well, it's bad, but they are not saying that clearly, but they are giving me a hard time.
In what ways?
Stopping me in the airport, tapping my phone, leaking information about me, spreading rumors, not allowing me to get a job or even to do freelance journalism that I'm doing. So it's really bad.
We know that every once in a while you get in trouble with the authorities.
Yeah.
But we're not clear why you're not always in trouble with them. That gray area. For instance, why aren't you in jail right now?
I don't really know, but there was a good opportunity that I go to jail several times before, but I managed to escape, I managed to run, I managed to hide. There were arrest warrants against me several times.
What don't they like about you?
That I don't want to stop, that I'm critical of them, that I'm exposing them, causing them lots of scandals, especially the police force and the torture. I'm very critical of the regime, and I speak about that inside of Egypt and outside of Egypt which like makes them more angry that I speak about that outside Egypt.
Wael says threatening phone calls did soon come, but he kept up the pressure, and early this year grabbed global attention by posting this. It is a brutal sight. On the floor, 21-year-old Imad Kabir.
The security forces in particular have a problem with you ever since you posted that video, that torture video.
Yeah.
Eventually, the authorities had to act on it. They ended up convicting.
Yeah, there was a trial, and the 2 officers were convicted, and they were sent to jail. And but it's the first precedent of its kind.
But beyond that,
yeah,
is there any evidence that the security forces are behaving differently as a result, perhaps?
No, there's no difference. They're just covering up, because there are no orders from above to tell them to stop doing what they're doing. Like the Minister of Interior, for example, issued an order to ban the use of mobile phones inside police stations. So this is the reaction. We don't want anything to be filmed. But he didn't issue an order to stop torture, although that you know that there are torture rooms all over Egypt in every single police station, big or small.
This week, Egypt, the Mubarak government, the internet, and the demands that a blogger be released from jail. Karim Amr was the first blogger to be convicted and sent to jail in Egypt. He's still in jail, isn't he?
He is still in jail at the moment.
Can you give us an idea of what kind of impact that very public trial has had on the output of the blogosphere? Did it change things?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Because the bloggers back then, they were really active, and they knew that this trial was just to intimidate them and to make an example of Karim Amr, to frighten the rest of the bloggers, so they didn't swallow the bait.
Can you explain to me why it is that the Egyptian blogosphere leads the league, so to speak, in the Arab world? Why is it a noisier place than in some other Arab countries that perhaps might have similar political situations?
Because the bloggers are not only working on the internet, they are not like bloggers in pajamas sitting in their comfy bedrooms and writing stuff. They are on the street. They have their own cameras, and they are taking pictures and videos and posting them online. So this is the difference. And they are using the real names, and they are delivering news service to people. They are giving people news that they won't get anywhere else.
People keep on talking about the transition.
Yeah.
Beyond Hosni Mubarak, the political transition and what will follow. What role do you see bloggers like yourself playing during that process?
Well, we don't know yet. It depends on the situation then. But I think that security are afraid of specific stuff that we might be doing, like the stuff we did back in 2005 and 2006.
And I took this picture, and here the officer is shouting at the soldiers to get me.
We exposed a lot of rigging, a lot of thuggery, a lot of use of security to prevent people from going to the polling stations, bribery, and stuff like that. Lots of bloggers in Egypt at the moment are afraid that there is going to be a wave of arrests among bloggers to prevent them from doing the part they are playing. And some of them are saying that they are going to be covering it from home.
Wael clocks 1 million hits per month on MasrDigital.com.
I think it was in 2007. I think it was CNN was calling you, I think, Middle Eastern Person of the Year. I think BBC described you as one of the most influential people out there. Do you feel influential?
I hope that I am. I want things to change. I want real free press. I want to push the envelope of freedom of expression. One of the reasons we started blogging was that the traditional media wasn't doing its job, and they were lazy, and they were afraid, and they had a lot of self-censorship. So we covered stories that they didn't dare to cover.
Every once in a while we look at your YouTube account. Sometimes it's there, then it disappears, then it comes back. What's going on?
YouTube claims that I violate their terms of service, and I publish videos that are not suitable for them, because I publish videos of torture.
Did you talk to them about it?
I talked to them, and they ignored me, but only they responded when the media started calling them. And the story was out there on CNN, on Fox News, on other media outlets.
Facebook has a problem with you too.
Yeah, recently I started this group on Facebook in solidarity with one blogger who was arrested by the government, and he was accused of terrorism because he went to Gaza and he met some people from Hamas. We posted those photos of us holding those toy plastic machine
I remember
guns.
that story.
Facebook obviously didn't like that because we're Arabs, we're Egyptians, and we're dark-skinned, and we're holding guns, so we're inciting violence here. But if you go to Facebook and put the word gun, you won't believe the amount of photos and the amount of groups that you're gonna get. Like there are fan pages for machine guns, for AK-47. But if you're an Egyptian, if you're an Arab, if you're from the Middle East, it's not allowed. You're violent, even if it's a toy gun that is shooting like plastic pebbles or something.
Did you talk to Facebook about that?
Yeah, but they never restored, they never answered, and they never restored the group.
A lot of people in a lot of countries blog anonymously. You don't want to do that. Why not?
I don't want to do that because I want to encourage people to join us. I want to encourage people to move. I want them to follow us, but not to feel suspicious of us. I want them to know who we are and that we are here and that we live in Egypt and that we're not afraid, and they should do the same. And there's nothing to be afraid of.
Wael Abbas, thanks for talking to us.
You're welcome. You're most welcome.
Finally, these guys look like a couple of rednecks from the conservative red states in the South, but they're a little more liberal, a little more subtle than that. And they've got an interesting take on the recent debate in the U.S. media over whether the anti-Barack Obama movement is, at its core, racist. We'll see you next time at The Listening Post.
What's the matter with you? Oh, it's just that I hate Obama so much.
I know you do, buddy. I know you do.
Yeah, but I also hate racism. Get off of me. And I'm worried that my hating Obama so much may be a little bit racist.
Jackie, you don't have to be racist to hate Obama, but it sure helps.
Oh, hell, I know some people, they see racism everywhere they look, like that darn Jimmy Carter, yeah. Of course, he also saw Monster Rabbit, so...
You know who I bet Jimmy Carter thinks is behind all the racism?
Yeah.
The Jews.
Oh.
Jackie, don't listen to the liberals and the media who say that our righteous anger is fueled by racism. Not true. Our anger is fueled by other anger. Jackie, I understand your concern because the last thing conservatives need are actual racists out there messing up our proven winning formula of subtle subconscious racism.
What the hell is subconscious racism?
Oh, you know, that's when you're like, I hate Obama because, I don't know, there's just something about him. It's like, blah. Yeah. You know, that's a good non-specific racism. Yeah. We can use that. We need to keep some lingering, unspoken racist fears so that we can stoke them if we fall behind in the polls. Stoke them fears. If it makes you feel any better, even Obama himself has said that people who hate him ain't racist.
What? Well, did he now? Well, maybe I am racist, yeah.
But you were just saying that you didn't want
to... Who is Obama to sit up there and proclaim that I ain't racist? Good Lord, this ain't Russia. Black Russia.